Today we're going to be talking about the Eachine VR006 budget FPV goggles. These are really inexpensive FPV goggles. These can be had for under $40. On the other end of the spectrum, we have what I usually fly with, which are Fat Shark HD3s, and these goggles cost about as much as the antennas on my Fat Sharks. The price difference is really big. Fat Shark Dominator HD3, by the time you buy a module and antennas, you're spending 15 times as much, I want to say. My math, yeah, about 15 times as much. These are under 40. So that being said, you know, we kind of have to, that's how we have to frame this review. So get started. You do have two antennas on the VR006. However, this is not a diversity receiver in here. This is a diversity antenna, if you want to call it that. By the way, the decal on the front is not included. First off, unfortunately, these don't fit my face very well. I've got a big head and the bridge on my nose is pretty big. I've broken it a couple times when I was younger, so they don't quite get on my face where I can focus properly. And probably the biggest thing that these goggles are missing in terms of features for budget goggles is the fact that the lens in there, the single lens that covers a single screen, is not adjustable back to front. And if you can't focus on this screen with the distance this lens is from the screen or your eyes, I get immediate eye strain and headaches. And I don't really think that that's to say the goggles are bad, because I really didn't get them for myself to use. These are mostly for my son to use when he drives his RC truck, or if he wants to get into some FPV tiny whoop flying. And the other reason I got these is so when you have a buddy over, or family members over who aren't into FPV, and you're flying and you want them to experience what you're experiencing in your main goggles, these make a great kind of loaner pair of goggles for that. Now, that being said, my son says that everything looks really clear to him. He doesn't have eye strain, and he doesn't feel like he's getting a headache when he wears them. So I guess it's going to depend on the shape of your face and your eyes and all that geometry that goes in there, whether or not these work for you. So that's kind of the one big watch out with these things. Now, if your nose doesn't hit up against this thing, or you can get these things positioned on your face right, I feel like I want to either pull them away from my face or push them in closer. I just can't get them lined up with my face. And again, I have a big head. I think that's just me. I think if you've got a normal sized or a smaller head or something, you might be okay. So in here, you do have a 3-inch, 500 by 300 resolution screen. And the screen in here is actually surprisingly good. I'll turn them on in a minute and kind of give you a look. The screen is really good, so no real problems there. Really nice about these things is they're very simple. So yeah, you don't have the luxury, if you want to call it that, of an external battery. You've got an internal 1S 500 milliamp hour LiPo that powers this thing, and you just plug it in via USB. So again, for like my son, it's super easy. He's got micro USB cables all over the place. There's no battery to lose or keep track of. You just plug them into a micro USB cable and you go. Don't know how long they're going to go for. We used them for about half an hour and the battery seemed to start dying. There is a little OSD in here that does tell you the voltage of the battery that's inside, and mine started blinking at like 3.5 volts or something after about half hour use. So we'll charge it up again and we'll see what we get. You do have this nice triple head strap, so that's nice, fully adjustable with a nice pad on the back. So they did a good job with the strap. Some buttons on the side here, basically just to turn it on, scan for channels. You can adjust the channel manually or adjust the brightness and the contrast. As far as the antennas go, they're pretty cheap, but they seem to work well. They're RPSMA. Probably got a typical cloverleaf in here and some kind of patch antenna, and they work okay. The reception is actually pretty decent. They're very light, and they are comfortable. So they're small for this style of goggle, which is nice. It's more of a compact design. Are they as good as Fat Sharks? No. Are they 15 times worse than Fat Sharks? Absolutely not either. So the value here is pretty good. Look, I haven't been flying FPV that long, and the cost to get into FPV flying is astronomical, especially early on. Some of the stuff, you have to buy to get in. You have to buy a transmitter. You got to buy goggles. It's expensive, this stuff. And if you're trying to get up and running, by the time you buy your battery chargers, and it gets out of control. So if you wanted to try out FPV without spending $1,000, in a budget way, where if it wasn't for you, or you just wanted to get a taste of the experience, then for $37 or $40, depending on what day it is at Banggood, these are going to be good as long as they fit your face right. Because again, you don't have that adjustable back and forth lens in here. So as long as the face geometry matches whatever the designers had in mind, you should be okay. For my son, that works. For me, not so much. And my wife said she gets eye strain when she wears them as well, but she hates FPV, and probably says that about any kind of pair of goggles I'll give her. So take that with a grain of salt. And here we go. You do get a little light on the bottom to let you know it's charging, which you can also kind of see through the top as well. So let's turn them on. You have a little on-screen display in there. You can see the battery voltage is blinking because the battery is getting low, and the frequency you're on the right. You can also see your brightness, contrast settings, saturation, and you can switch to the AV input. So there is an AV in port on the top, and it does come with a little cable so you can connect some kind of RCA input. I don't know what you're really going to use that for, but I guess it's there if you want it. So yeah, these work, and the display is nice. I almost wish the Fresnel lens wasn't in there, because that's what bothers my eyes. I'd rather look directly at the screen, but no light bleed. They did put a piece of tape in here. It came from the factory this way, which is to, I guess, block out any light that may be bleeding in from the top through where the clip is for the strap. The foam is okay. All in all, for an under $40 pair of goggles, these are good. Given the price point, I would say these are good. The big caveat is, are they going to fit your face and your eye geometry well enough that you won't get a headache after wearing them for a minute? I don't know. My son says no. I say yes. I guess it varies from person to person. I do have some footage of him using these to drive the truck, and we can compare. These don't have a DVR. Which for $40, that's fine. You can mod them and install a DVR if you really wanted to. So I've got some side-by-side footage of this and DVR from the Fat Shark, so you can see the difference in the reception. And yeah, like I said, if you're in the market for a cheap pair of ultra-budget FPV goggles, you may want to check these out. I'm satisfied because they're serving the purpose that they serve, and I guess time will tell as people come over and want to watch me fly with these. We'll see how many people can see clearly and how many people get a headache. But again, that's going to vary from person to person. Unfortunately, there's no real way for you to go to a store and try these things out before you buy them. So it's a little bit of a crapshoot with that. But I have used some other of these box goggle type, and these are better than some of the more expensive ones I've used. But the adjustability of that lens for me would be a must-have. Also comes in the box another piece of foam that you can place here. And I'm probably going to install this to kind of a little bit of a, nose cushion there. So they leave it off, but you can put it on if you feel like you need it. Check it out. We'll look at Evan driving the truck a little bit. We'll get his thoughts on it. Stay tuned, and thanks for watching. TX001 on the front. Cheap FPV camera. Go for it.
By the way, you left your goggles on.
I'm recording with them.
What are you recording with them?
Recording your video feed.
Well, yeah, I definitely say those goggles were worth about $30.
Go over there and stand up and go to the end of the street like you normally do so we can do a range check.
Okay.
It's still, I can still see it. How far are you, Evan?
Down where I normally go.
Right there is about the edge of the range. So that's about as far as you can go on the control range, right? So range is pretty good. That's about 75 meters.
What?
How are those goggles? This VR006. You like it?
Yep.
So how clear is it in there?
Oh, that's pretty clear.
Yeah? You can see well? Good enough to drive?
Yeah.
What do you think? You recommend these goggles to somebody who's trying out FPV?
Yeah.
You think they're good enough?
Yeah.
You like them better than the Fat Sharks?
Yep.
You do?
Yep.
They're a lot cheaper than the Fat Sharks, you know that, right? A lot cheaper. So the vision is good? You can see well?
Yeah.
Are they comfortable?
Yeah.
They hurt your nose or anything like that?
No.
So you'd recommend those to somebody trying out FPV? You say it's a good buy? Yep. How much would you think they'd be worth for a price?
Yeah, it's about $30.
Oh, they're only $30 goggles? They're not worth more?
No.
Why? What's wrong with them?
Well,
What's bad about them?
they're low range.
Why, you having range problems?
Yeah, once I get down to like the third house.
They start to break up? That's because you're not facing them and you're not holding your head up. If you face that way that you're going and you hold your head up, you get better range. Is that better?
Broke up at the same spot.
That's because that van's in the way. Like so bad you can't see, or it just starts to get a little staticky? At all?
Oh, barely.
No, well the camera's on the front, so you shouldn't have heard it. So easy to put on and off. They're nice that they have the triple head strap, right? That's pretty,
Yeah.
The top head strap is cool. Make sure you got them on nice and straight. Do they feel heavy?
No.
Are they comfortable?
Yep.
So what's more fun, driving FPV or driving line of sight?
FPV.
It's cool, right?
Yeah, it's like you're playing Forza. Forza in real life. Forza Horizon 4 confirmed. FPV RC cars.